When we discuss gender-sensitive policies for the media and ICT, we need to be aware of the multi-level and multi-actor environment within which issues of gender equality are addressed, and also of the many initiatives that have been carried out, particularly at the international level. In fact, binding and non-binding agreements have been adopted over time and in different regions of the world to define the principles and goals that should support the adoption of policies in relation to gender equality, to women's rights, and to their participation to public life. In this section, I will provide a general and synthetic overview of some of the legal bases and normative foundation that provide actually foundation for policy adoption for the media and ICT with the respect and in view of promoting gender equality. It is important that we take into consideration that many bodies that are active at the international level with a specific mandate to promote gender equality. And the first of these, certainly we should mention the UN Commission on the Status of Women, an intergovernmental body that was established by the UN Economic and Social Council in 1946 with a mandate to foster gender equality and promote the empowerment of women. The mandate was actually revised in 1996 after the 4th World Conference on Women that took place in Beijing, and again it was revised in 2015 following up the adoption of the Agenda for Sustainable Development. Also very important at the international level is UN Women, which is the United Nations entity for gender equality and for the promotion of women's empowerment. And UN Women has a mandate to support the definition of standards for member states, but also to work with UN agencies and governments and civil society to design the laws, programs, policies and strategies that are actually important to implement those very standards. Now, crucial for our concern with gender equality policies is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which was adopted in 1979. Now, the Convention, which is a milestone document, and it's the result of transnational feminist mobilization, very important, does not really deal specifically with media and communication, as communication is only mentioned once in relation to rural women access to services. But the Convention does states that parties shall take all appropriate measures, including legislation and policy, to ensure the full development and advancement of women for the purpose of guaranteeing their exercise and enjoyment of human rights. When it comes to a specific focus on gender and media issue, the core reference is, of course, the Beijing Platform for Action, where Section J of the platform indicated women and media as one of the strategic areas to promote gender equality. And Section J refers to two strategic objectives. One is to increase the participation and access of women to expression and to decision-making, and the other one is to promote a balanced and non-stereotype portrayal of women. So one goal about participation and one goal about representation. But Section J also included a number of recommendations to government, intergovernmental organization, and civic organization, indicating clearly the role of these different actors. And every 5 years since 1995, an assessment has been made of the different progresses in relation to the 12 areas, all the way up again to the Commission on the Status of Women that has been dealing with gender and media issue in 2013 and 2018. The Beijing Conference also promoted another fundamental principle, which is that of gender mainstreaming. Gender mainstreaming has been considered an organizing principle to ensure that decision-making takes into consideration men's and women's different interests and needs, but it has also been recognized as a policy frame that should be guiding the activities of international organizations and state actors. And a clear definition of gender mainstreaming has been provided by the European Commission in 1996 to refer to the systematic integration of the respective situation, priorities and needs of women and men in all policies and with a view to promoting equality between women and men and mobilizing all general policies and measures for the purpose of achieving gender equality. Finally, looking at the international context, it's also important for us to keep in mind that the framework within which gender equality is dealt with today at the international level is that of the Sustainable Development Goals, or Agenda 2030. And Goal 5 of the agenda relates to gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. But we should also be aware that in spite of Goal 5 realizing that it's important to ensure women's full and effective participation in equal opportunities, in leadership and in all levels of decision making, very little has been discussed in the development and elaboration of programs related to Goal 5, specifically to the focus on communication, media and ICT. Hence, our focus on policies may also contribute to enlarge our understanding of Goal 5 in relation to the communication environment. And the last aspect that it's maybe interesting to keep in mind is a tool that has been elaborated by UNESCO in 2012, and it's called Gender Sensitive Indicators for the Media. It's a set of over 100 indicators that provide a framework to assess the extent to which the principles enshrined in all the documents and policies that we have mentioned are actually implemented on the ground.